Welcome back, Ronin Renegades. I am Lupine Fiasco. This is Daily FaB gameplay, and today's game will be played against Vynnset. It is Thursday, November 23rd. For all of my American viewers, happy Thanksgiving. For all of my non-American viewers, enjoy universal healthcare, I guess? For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome. What we do here is review replays of games that I've played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I'll walk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now, while explaining my thought process for the lines that I take. We compare that to what I did at the time of recording to either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns. The goal of all this is to tighten and optimize our play in the future, take down paper events such as Road to Nationals or ProQuests, and walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. Without further ado, let's look at our sideboard and our game plan. Today's game features my Searing Emberblade list. If you would like to check that list out or try it for yourself on Talishar, you can find the deck link in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. It is the best free way to support me and to make sure you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. We win the die roll, so we are going to choose to go first. It isn't something we do a lot of. In most matchups, we want to go second, and even against other rune blades, we want to go second. But Vynnset's play pattern is such that she can't really do much most of the time on turn 1. She'll banish a card from her hand, which generates a rune chant. The cheapest rune gate effect she has is rune gate 2, so she needs to generate another rune chant somehow, which may be in the form of Grasp of the Arknight, it may be in the form of Envelop in Darkness, but all of this is to say that she's spending 3 cards and her first turn to maybe do 8 points of damage, which really isn't all that significant. If we go second, that gives her the opportunity to set up using Scepter of Pain, Grasp of the Arknight, any rune chant generation she may have in her hand, and then she gets to play out a normal game, mostly blocking our attacks, then cracking in for a big rune gate attack. So we want to go first here. Maybe we leak a little damage over, but we do get to arsenal a card and set it for a big turn 2. Considering that we are getting to go first, we aren't going to change any of our equipment. We are still on the double finisher blow her up plan. We are going to keep our Flamescale Furnace, which equals a little more life in this game, which is very important for combating arcane damage. And even though Vynnset does do quite a bit of arcane damage with rune blades, we are still going to keep our Shuko and our Snapdragon Scalers to maximize the power of our turn cycles. One thing to note is if we did lose the die roll and were made to go second, we would be playing with our Tide Flippers to negate the power of Vynnset's turn 1 Scepter of Pain. But of course, because all of our equipment is staying the same, we can look at the deck itself. The only change we are making is to board out our Stab Wounds and board in our Warmonger's Diplomacy. Warmonger's Diplomacy is a very strong disruptive effect against Vynnset, as it will prevent her from playing something like a Read the Runes and a Rune Gate attack in the same turn. And even if she uses her Spellbound Creepers, the play as an instant effect does not change the non-attack action card type of a Read the Runes or an Envelop in Darkness, so she still only gets to play with the attack action she has in hand or in Banish, or she takes a turn off of doing damage entirely to play a non-attack action like Read the Runes. Our strategy in this game is to just go full aggro. We really are not intending to block anything aside from an attack that is powered up by Maverian Skies. especially depending on what is in Vynnset's banish zone. We will want to block Mavrian Skies as something like banish a Runegate 3 attack, play Mavrian Skies, play another Runegate attack from banish. That hits, generates 3 rune chance, and lets Vynnset play a second Runegate attack from banish is just a huge play, probably very disruptive to us, and we can't afford to take damage like that. So we are going to block the Mavrian Sky attacks. But aside from that, we are just blowing her up. We're playing full aggro. We are setting up that big 5-card Art of War or Spreading Flames turn, and we are killing her faster than she can kill us. One thing to note, due to the power of rune chance and arcane damage, it is entirely possible that Vynnset can kill us from 3 or 4 or even 5 life with arcane damage and have us still sitting on block value from our armor. So think about blocking earlier with armor than you normally would. The last thing we want to do is die by just 1 or 2 points of damage while we're still sitting on our Flamescale Furnace or our Tiger Stripe Shuko. But the easiest way to demonstrate all of this is to jump into the game and see how it all comes together. Our Phoenix Flame goes to discard, and we can take a look at the opening hand here. With our Art of War, that's something we really want to keep. So we're just looking at how to maximize damage in the rest of this hand, and it is likely going to be something like Rise from the Ashes, play Phoenix Flame for 3, then E-Strike for 7, bottoming Lava Vein Loyalty. Vynnset does run a number of 2 blocks in her deck, so depending on her draw, maybe we push a little damage over the top of blocks. Most likely not. We are just getting cards out of Vynnset's hand, which she will then redraw at the end of our turn. But we are happy to set this Art of War in Arsenal and wait for our second turn. Vynnset does block out, and it goes back to her Vanishing Funeral Moon, which does have the Blood Debt effect that lets her play it from banish. Coming in with a Deathly Wail for a total of 5. So we do want to block this. This has the Mavrian Skies effect behind it, and while it will not generate the ability for Vynnset to play another Runegate attack from her banish zone this turn, it either sets her up for next turn or is just 3 more points of damage, and if we can use 5 block value to prevent 8 points of damage, that's something we are excited to do. So we have a couple options. We can either block with a Lava Vein Loyalty and a Ronin Renegade, or a Lava Vein Loyalty and our Flamescale Furnace. And you're going to see me block with Lava Vein Loyalty and Ronin Renegade, then undo the block and use Furnace instead. And the reason for this is that keeping our Ronin Renegade in hand is worth 4 more points of damage than blocking with our Flamescale Furnace. And that is because Ronin Renegade on its own is 3 points of damage, but it's also a Draconic attack, which lets us pick up and play our Phoenix Flame this turn. So if we block with our Ronin Renegade, yes, we do save 2 points of value on our Flamescale Furnace, but then we only attack for 6 on our turn. With this line, we use our armor, but we don't need to worry about any sort of dominate from Vynnset. We aren't going to play around something like a pummel. I just told you that we want to use our armor earlier than we normally would to play around late game arcane damage, and we get to send 4 more damage on our turn. So using the armor here to block the Mavrian Skies effect is just strong. We will take damage from the Flail. That lets Vynnset play Funeral Moon, generates more rune chance, and sets her up for a strong second turn of her own. But we are, of course, ahead in the race, and we're swinging in for a respectable amount of damage. We still have our Art of War in Arsenal, so as soon as we draw a good hand to play it, we're going to be in really good shape. Vynnset doing a little blocking here is fine by us. It's unlikely to impact the power of her turn based on those rune chants she already has, but it does mean that we are probably not going to get surprised by anything like an Envelop in Darkness or just extra damage on top of what we are already expecting to take. Into another pretty crummy hand here. Vynnset is sending quite a bit of damage our way. We can't block the rune chants, so we aren't even going to think about that. Just checking Phantom Wraith, it is 6 raw vanilla damage, so nothing worth blocking. And we can take a look at our turn and see how we're going to play out this hand. Without a blue, I don't want to play this Art of War. I want to sit on it until we get a hand that is fueled by a blue. So we can either pitch to our Spreading Flames, then attack with, say, Spreading Flames, Rising Resentment, Phoenix Flame, and pass the turn. Or we can play a little trickier. We can attack with our Brand with Cinderclaw, then our Rising Resentment, and if the Rising Resentment hits, we banish and play our Spreading Flames at its discounted cost, then come in with Phoenix Flame. If the Rising Resentment does get blocked, we will just pitch our Phoenix Flame to play our Spreading Flames, coming for a little less damage overall, but we're still putting a Phoenix Flame back into our deck for any future Flamecall Awakenings. And we're still playing out a fine turn. Vynnset does block the Rising Resentment, so we are just going to pitch our Phoenix Flame. There's a line here where we keep Spreading Flames in our hand to have an Art of War Spreading Flames turn, but I like consistency. I am a safe player when it comes to setting up these big turns. So I want to increase my likelihood of drawing a blue. And I'm more likely to draw a blue if I'm drawing 4 cards at the end of my turn instead of 3. We do see it's results-oriented thinking. Don't base your decisions on this outcome, but we do see that if I had kept this Spreading Flames in hand, we would not have drawn into our blue Lava Vein Loyalty. Vynnset banishes a Widespread Ruin, uses Tunic to activate Envelop in Darkness, and we are looking at a strong turn from Vynnset. That said, we are already taking unavoidable damage from the Widespread Ruin, which will trigger its effect. So we will banish the top card of our deck. Fortunately, we don't need the top card of our deck to play an Art of War. We can do this turn a few different ways. We could either open with the Art of War and banish our Snatch to make sure that we are likely to play out that double finisher turn with Snapdragon Scalers if we draw into a Lava Burst or Assault Wound. But what I like more is playing the Mounting Anger, then the Flamecall Awakening to tutor a Phoenix Flame, then play our Art of War to banish the Phoenix Flame. We lose out on a potential point of damage by not having anything to banish to the Mounting Anger, except for our Snatch, which we could very well banish. But we burn a Phoenix Flame instead of a Snatch, which is a much weaker card, of course. Playing out the Flamecall Awakening, tutoring our Phoenix Flame. We will see how Vynnset chooses to block this. She blocked it for exact damage. With Vynnset now at 29, I am still unlikely to use my Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. I would like to wait until she's a bit lower, but let's see what we draw into. Finding a Brand with Cinderclaw and a Warmonger's Diplomacy. The Warmonger's Diplomacy here is interesting because we can either choose to play it this turn and arsenal our Snatch to set up a 5-card hand and really disrupt what Vynnset is trying to do, or we could throw a Brand with Cinderclaw, then a Snatch to threaten that Snapdragon activation and see what we draw off of the Snatch before deciding whether to play Warmonger's Diplomacy or whatever we drew. We have a few interesting lines, but they all start with playing this Brand with Cinderclaw, and of course we can pick up our Phoenix Flame as well. Choosing not to break Mask of the Pouncing Lynx here, I believe is a mistake, and I believe not breaking it here is also a mistake. At this point, Lava Burst is 7 points of damage, and we know that it's 7 points of damage based on the Art of War and the Shuko. It isn't like Assault the Wound where we want to play the turn out to see what hits and what doesn't. So if we find our Lava Burst here, we pick up our Phoenix Flame and attack for 2, which takes Vynnset to a possible 23. Our Lava Burst takes Vynnset to a possible 16, depending on how she does or doesn't block. Then we can snap the Lava Burst and have the option to snatch or Warmonger's Diplomacy, depending on how Vynnset blocks. If she keeps 4 cards in hand, we can assume that she's going to pop off with attack actions and non-attack actions, and the Warmonger's Diplomacy really screws that up for her. And if she does block out from hand, and we know that she isn't going to have a big turn, then we play the Snatch. We're playing Snatch here because we can put Vynnset on not having a big turn lined up, especially now. We don't want to snap this Snatch. So we're just going to arsenal our Warmonger's Diplomacy. Vynnset coming in with another Widespread Ruin is a great 1-card hand from her. This takes us to a potential 7, but we have a very strong turn coming up. We can lead with our Ravenous Rabble, then pitch our Lava Burst to Flamecall Awakening. Flamecall Awakening finds the second Phoenix Flame in our deck. Play that Phoenix Flame, play Blaze Headlong, play Phoenix Flame, find Lava Burst or Salt the Wound, then snap it and play Warmonger's Diplomacy. We aren't going to block this Widespread Ruin, and we are not going to break our Flamescale Furnace on blocking. We want to keep that as well. Because we are pitching our Lava Burst to Flamecall Awakening, we also have the option to pitch the Phoenix Flame that we tutor to Flamescale Furnace to generate 2 resources and attack with our Emberblade. We do know that we have an Art of War on top of our deck thanks to this Ravenous Rabble. That isn't going to impact our decision of whether to play this Flamecall Awakening or to break our Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Pitching Blaze Headlong to the Flamecall Awakening is, in my opinion, a mistake. We can set up for a double finisher here with Lava Burst in hand, as well as a Salt the Wound or Lava Burst from deck, which I suppose is what we were planning to do. We'll attack with the Emberblade. We will use our FaB to pick up and play a Phoenix Flame, then attack with a Lava Burst. Depending on how Vynnset does or doesn't block, we will either grab Lava Burst or Salt the Wound. Here we do snap the Lava Burst. We are going to break Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. We have our 3 Draconic Chain Links, so we can pick up and play our Phoenix Flame. And of course, Salt the Wound here coming for 5. Vynnset doesn't block, but does play a reduced rune chance, so still takes quite a bit of damage this turn. We strip the hand, but Vynnset is sitting on a few rune chants. We'll see how she can deal with another Art of War turn. We're going to play a little risky and banish our blue instead of our Blaze Headlong, hoping to draw into another red, which we do. Brand with Cinderclaw here is a great start to the turn. We have 2 two options for how to play this out, depending on whether we want to keep this Warmonger's Diplomacy in hand. We'll attack with Emberblade. We can either play our Blaze Headlong to get our third Draconic Link. That lets us activate FaB for free. Or we can pitch our Warmonger's Diplomacy to FaB just to get it out of our hand. There is maybe a small benefit to not sticking this second Warmonger's Diplomacy in Arsenal. Maybe we don't think the game is going to last long enough for a second Warmonger's Diplomacy to get value, so we could leave our Arsenal open just in case we draw two finishers on a future turn. But let's play to maximize our resources. We'll throw the Blaze Headlong, get our FaB for free, then play Warmonger's Diplomacy from Arsenal and stick this new Warmonger's Diplomacy in its place. We've had this Warmonger's in Arsenal for quite some time now, so the longer we keep it there, the more Vynnset knows what it is. We will confirm her suspicions while leaving her unsure of what this new card is. Both Vynnset and I choose War, and we will see what she can do on her turn. She banishes and plays a Deathly Delight. The fact that she still has two cards in hand makes me feel very good about the power of that Warmonger's Diplomacy. We're just checking the text on Deathly Delight. Vynnset is going to gain a point of life when the combat chain closes. We've already taken rune chant damage, so we cannot prevent the quote-unquote on-hit of Deathly Delight. What we do need to do is not be dead. So if we block with at least Shuko, we stay alive at 1 life, but that puts us dead to really anything. If Vynnset has any reduced to rune chants left in her deck and manages to survive the turn, she kills us with Flail of Agony. Or if she manages to survive a turn blocking with 3 cards from hand, and on her turn can banish her remaining card to her own effect, then attack with Flail of Agony, we die. So we really want to block with more than just this Shuko, and we probably want to block with even more than that. At a minimum, we want to keep Ravenous Rabble and Blaze Headlong, as that represents 8 points of damage. The Brand with Cinderclaw that we keep in our hand also represents 4 points of damage from both paying for Emberblade and picking up and playing Phoenix Flame. So it looks like the right play here is to block with Shuko and Brand with Cinderclaw. That prevents a total of 4. Because we have this blue and this turn is not likely to last more than 1 or 2 more turns, let's block with our Flamescale Furnace as well. We will block a total of 5 points of damage. We will stay at 4 life, which asks for a lot from Vynnset to kill us, even through blocks. Meanwhile, we get to crack in for 12. Vynnset will need to block 10 of that damage. And depending on how her hand lines up with 2 blocks and 3 blocks, we might get quite a bit from her to prevent all of this damage. Vynnset taking 1 point of damage so far. We'll see what the Emberblade hits for. Emberblade blocked out in its entirety. So we will just throw our Phoenix Flame and see if Vynnset wants to take this damage. She has a full Tunic, so with 1 card in hand and 1 rune chant on the table, she might have a bit of a turn, but noting that she will need to banish that last card from hand, she throws the Mauve Skies instead and just passes it back to us. We are in the same situation as before, where we think we might very easily have enough damage to close this game out, but we aren't quite sure. We will throw Mounting Anger, follow that with Searing Emberblade, then be able to attack with Lava Vein Loyalty, pick up and play Phoenix Flame, then finish out the turn with Snatch. If Vynnset has a reduced to rune chant for this Snatch, she has one for the Mounting Anger. If she has one for the Snatch, then she stays alive, has 2 rune chants available, and we are looking increasingly more dead to arcane damage. But we are going to hope that we can catch her without the defense reaction for this snatch. Taking the Lava Vein Loyalty, going to 1, puts her dead to this Phoenix Flame, so she needs to give us a whole ass card to stop it. And finally, coming in with the Snatch, and that is enough to overwhelm Vynnset's defenses. Overall, a pretty good game, I thought. We played it pretty well. We had good Art of Wars and, of course, Warmonger's Diplomacy to shut down what could have been a much stronger turn from Vynnset that had the potential to kill us. A good early block in the beginning on that Maverian Skies prevented us from taking a bit of damage and kept tempo in our favor. I do think the one thing for me to take away from this game is, once again, I am waiting too long to break my Pouncing Links. I let the perfect be the enemy of the good, that I'm looking for either these 8 or 9 point Pouncing Linkses, or I am waiting until my opponent is sub 10 life before I find a Lava Burst for 5 or 6. And what I'm not internalizing is, once we block with our Shuko, Pouncing Links' value goes down. The more Art of Wars we play in a game, the fewer we have available in our deck, and Pouncing Links' value goes down. And the more we are having to block from hand, the more Pouncing Links' value goes down. So I don't know if I can really make a general rule of thumb here as far as you want your opponent to be below X life and above Y life before you use your Pouncing Links. But across many of my games, some that make it onto this channel, some that don't, I am seeing a consistent pattern where I wait too long for my Pouncing Links, and in other games will wait too long for my Snapdragon Scalers. So that really is my takeaway from this game, and can hopefully be yours too if you're having this similar problem. Don't wait until the very last minute to break your Pouncing Links. Don't look for the perfect opportunity. Look for a good opportunity and go with that. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you found it helpful. If so, head jab that like button for me. I do hope you have a happy Thanksgiving if you are in a country that celebrates. Otherwise, I hope you have a happy Thursday, and I will see you back here tomorrow for more daily FaB gameplay. Until then, take care.